Hi, hello, and welcome to yet another expat. Happy New Year 2025 is here. Bring your resolutions, bring everything. I hope you had fun and relaxed. I got bronchitis. Maybe you heard it in the previous episode. The voice was a bit down, but I count it as a win that I managed to get a GP to give me actual antibiotics in Berlin. This is not one of the easiest tasks, but Greeks, we love some good antibiotics. Make sure to take them for as long as they tell you. Don't stop them before. This is how super bacteria get created that are resistant to everything and all of that. I'm sure you know. But the year is behind us. This is episode 40. We have lived another day. Everyone is doing the year retros. I see them on Instagram. As I said before, I won't do that, at least not yet. I only reflect back when my therapist asks me. It's just too much pressure. I still haven't uploaded the photos I took from my Japan trip in 2023. So maybe first I do that at some point. I've thought about it a lot and I think I could use an intern. Would be great to have an intern. I imagine having an intern very often. I would give them all sorts of works that would be good to do, but are never a priority. They would also do Instagram and TikTok for me because why not? I'm too old to do it, but there is some content that could be put there. If you know any interns that want to work for no money, just for fame, let me know. I think the Kardashians were doing that because how could they pay anyone? They're so poor. But they were using unpaid interns. If the Kardashians can do it, so can I. It would be great to have a paid intern at some point. Maybe if you all subscribe and like and share this podcast and make it the best podcast in the world, I can one day have an intern. Until then, it's just me in this room with my coughing and my equipment. But this podcast is entering a second year. It's wiser, faster, stronger, and in a way, it is a living proof that you can make a podcast if I can do one. But yeah, I think that the last year I proved myself that I can do it. I can cringe through listening to myself. It sometimes feels good when you are recording, and then it feels horrible after, like you don't even want to listen. And other times it feels complete shit when you are recording, and like nothing makes sense. And then you hear it afterwards and it feels great. So you never know. You can never get a break. You can never anticipate. This is the struggles of podcasting I go through so you can get this beautiful product out there. New Year's Eve, it happened. It happened in Berlin as expected. Episodes, the fireworks in the streets, the whole mayhem that's going on. You probably know it by now. And there were quite a few episodes this New Year's. Houses got burned, like random houses. Someone just throws a rocket into your balcony and then it burns there, and then your balcony burns, and then your house burns. And this is something that happened. Houses got burned because people throw projectiles in them. The situation on the streets on the day is just scary. Like it is scary. I think it's causing a lot of PTSD to people coming from places with wars, for pets. It's destroying the environment. It scares not just dogs, but also all the birds are trying to hide somewhere. The trash it creates, like all the people that had to clean up the New Year's Eve. And if you haven't seen, you can give it a Google. You can Google what happens in Berlin. The floor is covered in ashes. All of this manpower, human power being put into cleaning. It would be great if they could just take all of that and then divide it 365 days and get a little bit of extra cleaning. My street gets not very often. Can I get some of that instead of having to spend millions in cleaning after all the fireworks? But anyway, there is also a petition to get the guy his life back. His whole apartment got burned. He didn't have a fire insurance. He wasn't at his apartment. He lived at the top of a building. Okay, how much? You don't expect much if you are the last apartment. But his whole apartment got burnt. Music producer, he lost about 40,000 euros of equipment. And there is a petition going around and a GoFundMe for him to try and get his things back because he doesn't really have anything else. But aside from him, a lot of cars got burned. And then there are these kugel bombs, which is a very illegal type of firework that you can make it super strong. It's like an explosion. There was one that blew up in Berlin, and it literally destroyed parts of the building around and across. 36 apartments had to be evacuated. It's mayhem. But this is Berlin. We lived another day. There was also New Year's Eve in Athens, and that had some spiciness as well. Because just so you know, the new mayor of Athens is not from the same political party that is running Greece, the new democracy, that they had two terms now for what is worth. Their previous mayor of the running party was probably the worst mayor Athens ever had. He did a lot of laughable projects that wasted the millions and made everyone's life more miserable by giving nothing back besides giving direct contracts to some people to make some constructions that helped no one. The whole traffic in the city center got worse for 4 years while they were trying to build a project that was rolled back in the end. Just really bad stuff. So the new mayor, even though 41% voted for this new democracy party, Athens managed to get the opposition mayor just because of how, like, if the previous mayor did nothing, just nothing, I think that he would have been elected again. But he did so many fuck ups, allowing hundreds and thousands of trees to be cut for projects without replacing them. Just a lot of bad things. But anyway, new mayor, and the new mayor that Athens has now is doing a celebration to change the year. It happens at the main square of Athens, Syntagma Square. There is music, it's just a thing. Now, this celebration is always broadcasted by the national television. So they have a live connection and they show what is happening. But guess what happened this year that the mayor is not part of the government? The national TV decided that they cannot broadcast the New Year's Eve celebration from the Syntagma Square. And the new mayor actually had a fantastic set of musicians and a whole show prepared that went through the history of the town, through music, and recalled a lot of historical events. And they didn't broadcast it. There was a second feast, a second celebration was taking part in Athens. The county is run by a guy who belongs to the major party. So even though Athens is the biggest part of the region, right, of the county person decided to do a second fiesta, which was backed by the government, in a different place in Athens. This has never happened before. So there were two New Year's Eve celebrations. The traditional one that happens every year in the main square in front of the parliament. And then the other guy who owns the region decided to throw a celebration of his own. Why? Just because, you cannot let your friends starve. Someone needs to take that money, 608,000 euros for that fiesta. This is how much money the county paid just to have an opposite fiesta because they don't like the mayor. So we had this war happening, the war on the new mayor, having the national TV not broadcast his thing, and then having the county, for the first time ever, throw a celebration that cost 680,000 euros to show that they can do better, money that is paid by every taxable citizen. So there you have that, a very pity move. Fireworks in Berlin, two fiestas in Athens. Who pays at the end? The people. In other great news, I managed to get into Berghain. I managed to do it. Now, Berghain is this super famous club in Berlin. You probably know it. It's one of the most famous clubs of the world. It has been in the news and articles, and it's considered the one thing to try and do. Many people get rejected, they don't get in. There is even the walk of shame when you get rejected from that club and you need to continue. Hours and hours of lines and all of that. Also, a small side note, clubbing in Berlin is a completely different thing than clubbing in Athens. Athens is crazy loud music, nonstop. Everyone is squeezed in like sardines and it's just way more intense. In Berlin, clubbing, the spaces that exist are able to cater for different people. There is a dance floor, there is a chill area, there is places that you can just, collect yourself, sit for a bit. It's a much more user-friendly experience. You can rest, you can catch your breath, you can go dance again. Just mentioning this because clubbing in Athens can be a very intense, packed experience of nonstop music frying your ears while you cannot move from the people. So, putting that out there. But Berghain is the crown jewel. I had it in mind. A DJ I know was playing. We're actually colleagues at work. I had no idea he's a DJ for a long time. And when I saw on his Insta that he's playing, I asked him, and apparently there is this thing called a skip list where you can add people and they can skip the line. Now, the line can be hours and hours long, and it's an experience on its own. Friendships are done in the line, or it's part of the experience, but a part I was very happy to have not to do. I felt quite privileged. I had only been once in Berghain in an art exhibition, and it almost did the checkbox for me. It almost said, okay, I've been there, not as a club, but as an art space. Um, the temple of techno in Berlin. Photos are not allowed, of course. They forbid it very strictly. If you look online, you cannot find a lot of things. Someone even made a full 3D model on YouTube, a 3D model to explain how the inside looks like, because a lot of people are wondering. And I went there. My girlfriend Berlined me up, which means that she got me. I got all my black clothes and I put on the I don't care style and a bit of eyeliner, a bit of attitude, and I just went in. There were four guys at the door. I tried to pretend I know where is what, but I didn't even know where to turn. I said my name, they looked around, they let me in. The moment they let you in, you could go straight, but you must turn sharp left. I did that a bit surprised. The first station was someone to search me, and I spread my hands like an eagle, spread my legs like a starfish, like I'm getting busted in Grand Theft Auto. And he was like, "Put your hands down, relax." I tried to be more relaxed. I got searched, always good. And next up was a big cashier with like a bar or a bench, and I thought it's the garderobe where you can leave your coats and stuff. So I started taking things off, and that was super stupid. It was actually the tickets booth, because even if you skip the line, you still need to get a ticket. Almost ridiculed myself there. But I managed to get in. I had some beers. I did a lot of dancing. It feels really, really nice and chill. It felt very friendly for me. There's a lot of space as well. This is something that I've seen in every club I've been in Berlin. They make sure that they always have a good ratio so you're able to move around, you're able to pass through people, and it never gets too packed. That's something I really appreciate. Some light installations running through cables all around from the center. It felt like there was a huge neuron in the center of the room where the light would travel in all directions. Berghain is a very industrial place. It used to actually be a power, how do you call it? Plant? Like where they make electricity. It's very industrial. Everything is metal inside. It's well thought through. It doesn't have, sharp edges. They've made a lot of decisions to make a place where you can roam around, have some fun, relax. And I had a great time. I have friends who go in Berghain and chill and dance and like it. I actually have other friends that find it unsafe and even dangerous to be there. There's always a chance that someone can try to spike your drink or who knows what. There are dark rooms as well. I didn't get to any of those, but I stayed for some hours. I had a really good one, and that made it one out of the bucket list. They say if you want to enter Berghain, you need to be in groups of two, maximum three. You need to look indifferent. You need to wear black. It's good to speak German, and all of these are good notes. But I would say if you can find anyone in the lineup on Instagram and ask if they have a skip list for you, maybe that's an easier way to get in when there is some music playing. Okay, now a last story to finish it up. This episode is only stories. I don't think I have any news. I mean, I told you an apartment got burned and that, if these things count as news. But here's a story. This story takes place when I was around 9 years old. It's a story of coming of age. It's a story of taking matters into your own hands. It's a story of, I don't know, just do you. But I was 9 years old, and as I've said before, When I was 9, I didn't even care to dress myself up. I would wake up to go to school with whatever my mom dressed me in. It was like a closed eyes vending machine. I would wake up, I would put my hands up in the air, and something would be worn on me. Something would be put on. But that was the time where personal style started becoming more important because the love of my life, Elena, for whom I would pick up seashells on the beach in the summer and bring them back to school as a necklace to gift, she was clearly into style. So I had started wearing boxers because wearing slippers as underwear was very noob. And the boxers were different types, but there was no better type of boxers than the ones with cartoons. So that was my goal. I wanted some boxers, some underwear with cartoons. Now, let's back up a bit. Close to our house, close to our apartment, there is a church. Every church in Greece is devoted to a saint. It has the name. It's Aios Georgios, Aios Nikolaos, whatever the saint's name is. But what you need to know about this story is that once a year, the saint has their name day. They're celebrating. And on that day, what happens is that they set up a panegyri, like a local market to celebrate around the church. And that thing is a hell of an experience. If you happen to be in Greece anytime, you can look in your city. If there is a name day of a church, just go there to have a look. It has the worst stuff you can imagine. It's the epitome of kitsch. They would sell all sorts of things around the church. They would sell goldfish, popcorn, cotton candy, waffles, clothes, toys, replicas. Basically, half of the things they were selling are definitely forbidden now because it was animals like turtles and goldfish. And the other half they were selling besides food was junk you find in Temu today. But there it's sold for 20 times the price and it's the same quality. Side note, I did get a goldfish a few times, me and my sister. They would not last long. At some point, we would just compete with each other, like whose goldfish can outlive the other person's. I have no idea. They gave us food and we had like we knew that we need to clean the water, but I don't know. They just don't live long. And one time, mine stayed alive for a long time until we had to go to the Horio to visit the grandparents in the village. And my mom, I was wondering what I'm going to do with it. And my mom helped me set it free by releasing it to a water fountain. I was smart enough to know that if I put it in the toilet, it's not going anywhere. And the water fountain sounded like a good idea. I have no idea what happened to it, but animal cruelty aside, we had stopped doing the goldfish thing. Let's go back to the underwear and the boxers. This was the goal. In this market, I knew that there would also be some clothes, namely the cool boxers with the cartoon stuff. So I asked my mom to take me to this panegyri, to this type of market, and get me some. So we went. It was night. They had lights out. It was really nice. Blah blah blah. We see some boxers I liked. And I got them. I got the Tasmanian Devil. I still remember that one. He was my favorite. And one more with Donald Duck. Now, as we walked by to go back home in part of the market, I saw something that made my jaw drop. It blew my mind. And that was a white pony. A pony, like a small horse. Now, let me tell you a few things. The only thing I had seen in life so far was a donkey, okay? A donkey named Kichos. It was my grandpa's donkey, 40 years old, blind from one eye donkey. He looked like the one from Shrek, like the colors of gray and poop. But he looked like the one from Shrek if he had started smoking crack for 5 years. Love Kitschos, but definitely not winning any beauty contest. Now, seeing a white pony in front of me felt like pure magic. Imagine a child seeing that for the first time. The white skin, the hair was nicely combed. It had some accessories on. It felt like seeing a unicorn, okay? A guy had brought it there to lure the children, very, very smart, to have rides. And oh boy, did I want a ride. And I begged and I begged and I begged, but my mom would not let me. She said, it's too expensive, it's not worth it, we're not going to do it. And I tried my best, but she just wouldn't do it. And we walked back home, and although I had my cartoon boxers, my soul was sizzling in a pan made of tears of not riding the pony. It We went back home. It was night. We did the routines. We went to bed, but it was still itching me. The white pony, the unicorn. When will I ever see a pony again? When will I get the chance to ride a pony ever again? And you know what? I decided I'm doing it. And I got up and I wore my clothes myself this time. I broke my kubaras where I kept all my money, my pocket money. I grabbed it all. I stole the keys for the house from my mom, and out into the night I went. I don't remember much besides handing the guy all the money I got and telling him, get me on that pony. The guy had a Polaroid and he took a photo of me. And that photo was by far my proudest moment for many years. I had won running races, stuff at school, none of this mattered. That photo was my crown jewel for a long time. The smug face I have and the smile in that photo, you can see it's me getting what I wanted. It felt like pure joy running through my veins. I still remember I got home. My mom never learned I did this until years later when she saw the photo. She didn't mind at all. She didn't even exactly remember what happened. I never forgot. Up until this day, I still congratulate and applaud that little boy who decided to defy the status quo and just do what felt right, my own little act of rebellion. And what a better thing to commemorate that than an old Polaroid photo. So, this is the story of how I rode my first pony and started my journey to adolescence, I guess. This has been the episode, a bit short this time. By the way, that photo is the cover of this podcast. So if you haven't looked at your device up until now, maybe it's a good time to do it. Happy New Year's, everyone. Let's see what 2025 brings for everyone. And if the world is going to shit, we'll be here together talking about it. Until next week, have a good one. Ciao.